Previously.
Do you know anything about these cars?
Okay. Poor customer service is why we haven't bought a car there yet. Instead, I bought a Sprinter van. That's a $170,000 Turo play.
Is that it? Oh my gosh, I love it. It's huge.
Our Porsche Center, my friend. It's good to have you here at Gaudin Porsche. My name's Paul Jarrett.
Okay.
And this is your first time here by chance in our Porsche Center?
In the Porsche one. I've been to the Ford one before.
That's great. Well, you know, right next door, since you mentioned that is Gaudin Ford, and we've actually been a Ford dealer for 99 years. Yeah, we're gonna be celebrating our 100-year anniversary next year,
In Las
January
Vegas.
2nd. No, well, originally we started in the Central Valleys of California. That's where we all started.
Got it.
And it's called Gaudin Motor Company because of George Gaudin, and he was actually a farmer in the Central Valleys of California.
Okay.
His main crop was lettuce heads, and he would use a Ford pickup truck to pull the lettuce heads out of the field.
Right.
Well, he was a tinker, a mechanic, things like this, and he wanted to be more efficient and more productive. And so he took his Ford pickup truck, flipped the cab around, made some modifications, and made a front-wheel drive application so that when it rained, the truck could pull the plow through the field instead of bog it down from the rear-wheel drive. Super successful, like was really helpful. It's about 30% more efficient.
Wow.
So his buddies and his neighbors that were farmers too, they got wind of it and they asked him to help them out, and he did. And they got more efficient and word spread. This was like 1918, 1919.
Right.
Well, Ford Motor Company got wind of it because they never heard of something like that.
Right.
And it was in the winter of 1921 that George Gaudin, he was 19 years old, got in a Ford pickup truck with his parents in the winter and drove from California all the way to Dearborn, Michigan.
Sweet.
Spent like 3-4 weeks in Dearborn talking about stuff, and it came down to really one simple question. Ford Motor Company asked George, they said, this is some really great technology and we'd like to maybe buy the patents.
Right.
Like maybe
We
this
want
will, this is a great idea. You've done some stuff, so how much will it take? And he goes, I don't want your money, I want to be a Ford dealer. That's how we were born. Over the years, we've had almost every brand you could think of. We've had Volkswagen, Hyundai, Aston Martin, Fisker, if you've ever heard of them, Jaguar, obviously Porsche, Ford.
Right.
We've had Saab, Audi.
Yeah.
We've even sold tractors.
Right.
We've had a lot of locations over the years. We've been a Porsche dealer since 1986. So this is typically my favorite part of the tour, although we're right in the middle of a big expansion. Only been open for about 6 years, and we're already over doubling our capacity in our service department. So you can't see in there right this second, but typically you'd see an open workshop, nice, clean, and tidy. This is a great part of the story. So remember that last luxury store we built and we opened it in 1999?
Right.
Well, prior to that, Gary got a bunch of focus groups together for our sales and service team to ensure to improve their experiences even better. Well, the service focus group said, what can we do to improve your experience? At that time, in the mid-90s, most owners, if not all owners, pretty much were sports car owners, 911s. This was like a part of their family. It was like another child to them. So if it needed some service or maintenance, they wanted to be a part of it. Well, if they were able to go to a small independent workshop, maybe they could even go in the workshop, maybe go under their car. Well, our insurance policies would not allow that. So they decided to get more creative and say, well, what if we had a giant window into the workshop? You could visit it, come and check on it, grab a coffee, espresso latte, meet the shop foreman, and actually kind of be a part of the experience. Guests loved it. Our technicians did not. The manufacturers did not.
So fishbowl type mechanic service based.
Yes, but anyway, 4 years later in 2003 is when we finally got the manufacturers to sign off on that. 10 years after that, 2013, I'm in Germany going through an executive tour, and they're asking us where we're from. And I said, I'm from the States. They said, where in the States? I said, Las Vegas. Like, oh, that's where our window of the kitchen concept was started. And I'm like, what are you talking about? This is our parts boutique here. This is where we have a lot of our gifts for very, very popular during birthdays and holidays.
Well, let's just go and find the most expensive one, because that's going to be something that's interesting. People are going to want to know about.
Most expensive item in here?
Yeah.
Oh goodness, well it's going to be over here because what you see on this other side over here is our Porsche Design location.
Okay.
What's really amazing is Porsche Design has existed for many years. Actually, Bootsy Porsche started Porsche Design as a fashion for him, and he only did one thing with his dad, with the automotive manufacturer, and that is draw the 911. He developed the 911. But he left in 1969 to start Porsche Design. But Porsche Design decided to start to branch out and maybe actually put their brand inside a car dealership because they didn't used to want to be part of the manufacturing side.
Right.
And this is the very first pilot program in North America with Porsche Design. And to this minute, the only privately owned car dealership with Porsche Design inside of it, right here.
Sweet.
So we have some timepieces here. Many of the timepieces can be custom built to the VIN number of the car you're making. That's not the best part. The best part is you can customize a wheel on any car you build, any wheel you want. Well, the rotor, the spinning rotor of the automatically winding ones will match your car on the back of the watch. I mean, the exact wheel you have, it's spinning just like your
the
car.
watches are probably the most expensive item, I'm guessing.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say so. We have this new curved display from Porsche Design. I personally really like that. Here's a sound bar. This sound bar is a real exhaust system from a real GT car.
Dope.
Yeah, it is dope.
This thing's just playing music.
Right over here, my friends, to our classic side of things. So we're the very first Porsche Classic partner in North America. What does that mean?
Yeah, what does it
Well,
mean?
it means that we are partnering with Porsche of Germany and Porsche Cars North America to develop their Classic brand. But what is the Classic brand?
Right.
Well, of course, we have Classic cars here, and over 70% of every Porsche that's ever been made is still on the road. So
70%.
70%.
What was the first year?
The very first year of Porsche, 1948, was when we first started building cars. Hand stamping them actually in Gmünd, Austria. The Classic brand is one specific thing. So think about this. If you were a manufacturer and you wanted to support all these Classic cars, 70% of the cars ever built still on the road today, how do you support that? And how do you monetize it?
Right.
Obviously, if you buy and sell a car, you can monetize that, but that's a privately held business. That's what a dealership does.
Right.
How does a manufacturer monetize it? What they do is they create and maintain a continuing catalog of parts.
You guys started fabricating.
Well, a lot of them are fabricated from Porsche, but the point is we maintain a catalog of just under 60,000 parts for classic Porsches.
So what year is this car right here?
This car here is 1987.
1987.
And the color is incredibly rare.
911?
This is a 911 Cabriolet, that's right. And this is Cassis Red Metallic is the color. It's hard to describe this color. This is a 1965. So you got to hear this quick story.
Sure.
So
yeah.
when the Porsche 911 was originally drawn and developed, it was drawn because Dr. Porsche, he looked out into the market to drive the sports car of his dreams, but didn't exist.
Right.
So he said, I'm going to build the car of my dreams.
Right.
And that's where the 911 comes from. But at the very beginning, they had to come up with a name. And it was not called this. It was called the Porsche 901. This is around 1964. So they're building 901s and they're delivering them. They sell about 282 of them. And Peugeot comes out with, frankly, a bit of a legal case for Porsche and says that they already had trademarks for automobiles with two numbers, front and back, and a 0 in the middle. And this is a new small company, Porsche. They're just little guys still.
Right.
So they backed off immediately, no problem. Like, we have virtually no equity in his name anyway. They had a bunch of 9s, 0s, and 1s around, and they were in touch with a guy named Max Hoffman, who was the very first importer in America. Kind of got his input, went around real quickly around it, and they said, you know, there's this new emergency code in America called 911 or 911.
Right.
That might be more recognizable. We got all these 9s, 0s, and 1s around here. Let's just call it the 911.
I like it. So basically everybody I know, the only reason I wasn't gonna buy a Porsche is because everybody I know just bought one. And honestly, I'm living in Kansas City half time right now, so I figured I might as well park it in the garage. I'm doing whichever Porsche rents the best on TURO.
Oh, great.
Why not?
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
Just
This
monetize
Vegas-
it. And in addition to that, you know, Porsche, when it comes to pre-owned cars, we have one of the best warranties that's ever been written. I mean, we're talking unlimited mileage, no deductible warranties on pre-owned cars. Wow. So, well, I'm here. I'm happy you're here. So it's about time we start to see the cars.
Let's go look at it.
So what we have is 2018. This is a Macan S. So
Okay.
in this car, you would have been at 340 horsepower
340
back in
horsepower.
2018. The 2020 Macan S, you'd be at 348. So it was a bump in horsepower in just a couple of years. And probably the biggest difference that you're going to see is in the backs of the cars. In 2019, what they did was just what you would call a nice refresh.
Right, this tail light.
Yeah, so they went, and this is kind of the architecture of all Porsches now, with, you know, the light bar going around, you know, the entire rear end of the car. So that's probably the biggest difference. Inside, very similar. This has a little smaller, what they call PCM, which is Porsche Communication Management. It's the actual navigation screen. This is
the
Macan.
This is the
Macan S,
220.
Macan S.
Okay.
This was just a badge delete,
All right,
which
so
is
let
an
me ask
option.
you, so the S brand is the highest level, or what?
No, it's kind of at that time it was second.
Okay.
So you have the Macan, which is a 4-cylinder, inline 4-cylinder. Then the S, the GTS, and the Turbo all were 6 cylinders.
Okay.
And so the Macan S is Definitely more horsepower than the base car by 100 horsepower, so it's a significant difference. But the GTS is kind of a little bit more limited in production than the Turbo is even more limited than that. What's really unique about this car versus the Cayenne is the transmission. This has what's called a PDK transmission.
So you guys are still making the Cayenne.
Yep.
So what's the Cayenne's faster, more luxurious? What's the difference?
I wouldn't say, well, faster, yes, when you get into like the new Cayenne Turbo GT and that kind of thing, but Cayenne is definitely larger. A little bit more cargo room for sure, but is an all-wheel drive vehicle just as this is. This just has a lower center of gravity. It's got a much sportier feel to it. So this one's an S, but just a few less options on it. There's no panoramic roof on it. As you can see, look at the screen in the center of the console. It's much smaller than the one that's in the 2020.
I like that one better, for sure. Just because of the moonroof.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
And it's funny how many people, they want it, but they never open it.
But
what they do is open the blind.
Right.
And they just want the glass
that air
roof.
coming in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a deal killer, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just nice to have. This is the 911.
This is a 911
What
GTS.
year is this?
This is a 2016. So this car would have been 440 horsepower.
For me, I'd probably want to have this better, but I think common sense wise, it's clean as hell.
Yeah.
So this is the 911 Carrera
GTS.
GTS. What's this cost?
Oh, you would have been in the back then, probably 128, 135 range.
So that's what it cost brand new.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're with Mark. We're about ready to go on a test drive on the Porsche
Macan S.
Macan S.
You're going to see with the red dot
got it.
showing that you're in drive. For long.
I just want to check it out here. It's got that big screen, the moonroof. Are you comfortable back there? Is it nice and comfortable? Nice. So what are you guys asking for this car?
On this one, we are, let's see, we're 74.4. It is a certified car, so there's a big benefit in that. We as a dealership pay Porsche for the certification.
Okay.
Their end of the agreement, if you want to put it that way, would be that they warrant the car anywhere in North America. But what it does is it extends the original factory lease out by an additional 2 years, and it provides you with unlimited miles.
Unlimited miles.
Unlimited.
Hey, thank you for staying tuned all the way to the end of this video. I hope you've enjoyed and I hope you're actually learning something. If you are, make sure you stay tuned because we're gonna have video after video so you can enjoy and learn from what we're doing. Make sure you stay tuned for the next video. Peace.